Hello, hello. So this series is going to be me teaching you guys this book called Reality Transurfing. Now, Reality Transurfing is a book that was actually originally written in Russian by this Russian physicist, Vadim Zeland. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, but anyways, basically this guy teaches some really cool shit. He talks about these principles of reality, how fate works, how every single person has an infinite number of fates that are all pre-written, but through the principle of transurfing, he actually teaches you how you can choose fate. And so the idea that he talks about is that it's not so much about creating fate or creating your life or whatever, rather choosing it. And he gives you very specific principles and very actionable stuff that you can apply in your life to change your external reality like this. So in this series, I'm going to be teaching you guys what he's talked about in his book. Now, the reason this is really special to me and I'm super excited about it is because when I was reading through his book, so I first heard about him through this guy, Aaron Doughty. He talks a lot about this book and this experience, and he's got this meditation on it. And I loved it so much. And I was like, oh my God, I want to know more, right? Because there is this specific concept that he teaches about pendulums that is something that I've never heard before explained this way. And it makes every single thing make so much sense. Because here's the thing, when we're healing, when we're on this journey, when we're all about learning, like, okay, well, I understand that reality is a mirror. I understand that there are things that I need to change, blah, blah, blah. But what is the full picture of everything, right? How do my actions and how I think and how I feel specifically impact my external reality, right? So he talks about pendulums and he talks about excess potential and he talks a lot about it is esoteric, but it is a lot about energy. And I think that when you learn and understand and embody these principles, you can literally change your life, literally, because I did that. I completely transformed my life through this. About this time last year, I was actually in one of the darkest places that I had been in. I had walked away from my coaching stuff. I had another company that I walked away from, and I was in a crazy amount of debt. And I was just like, everything in my life was basically on fire. Everything was on fire. I had to walk away from everything that I had built. And I was like, do I give up on coaching? Do I just let this die? And so in that time, I did some really deep inner work. And within that work, one of the teachings that really helped me came from this book. So as I've been posting more on YouTube and I'm like doing this full time again, because last year I was writing my book and I was doing events and I was doing a lot of other things. And now I'm like, no, I'm on YouTube big time because I love creating content and I just love sharing and I love teaching this stuff because I think that this type of information, it is so powerful and it changes your life. And everybody deserves that chance. Everybody deserves the opportunity to have information that is free, that is available, and that they can use to literally change their lives. So in this series, I will be teaching this book to you guys chapter by chapter. And here's the thing, it's not going to be me reading the book because that's what a lot of people do when they're teaching a book. What I wanted to do was make it fun, make it relatable. So I have made my little PDF diagrams. I drew them on the iPad because you shouldn't waste a lot of paper. I'm not going to say that. I love paper, but chart papers are just a whole thing. And I was like, well, I'll just draw them. So right now we're going to go right into chapter 1 from here. And I'm going to show you my little PDF drawings and I hope you enjoy it. And it is so interesting. Honestly, I'm going to tell you guys one thing. If you apply the principles that are taught in this book, and if you actually stick with this course, and if you because this is a whole course. This book is an entire freaking course, right? These are things that there's action points in it. And when you apply it, when you learn it, and by the way, each time, anytime you even just learn something, you're making new connections in your brain. So just by listening, just by taking notes, by the way, taking notes is one of the best things you can do during this time. I am a chronic note taker. I take notes for everything. This is my second journal of the year and we are on 20th Jan. My first was this one and it's already completely filled. This is halfway through. A big nerd here. But yeah, take notes and apply the information, and then come back and we'll talk about how much your life has changed. I'm very excited for this series. Without further ado, I'm going to switch to my laptop camera, probably, I don't know, but I'm going to switch to my screen at least so I can show you my drawing and we can take it from there. So this is the book. It's called Reality Transurfing, Vadim Zeland. I don't know if I'm getting his name right, but basically it is a very long book. As you can see, it's 690 pages and it's got a lot of chapters. I think it's about 20 chapters or so, 19 chapters. So, what I've done and what I'm going to do in this series, as I told you in the intro, we're going to go through chapter by chapter. Now, here's what's going to happen. Some videos will probably be just one chapter alone. Some chapters are longer, so I'm going to spend more time and more, like maybe like 2 videos on it, 3 videos, I don't know, it depends. But my aim with this entire series is that you understand every single thing to the T and you get the most value out of it. You can take notes, you can learn, you can integrate, and most importantly, just freaking change your life, man. Because here's the thing, let's talk about what transurfing is. Let's let the airplane fly. So transurfing, the idea of transurfing is basically that you're choosing your destiny like you'd choose something at the supermarket. Now, here's the thing about destiny. Here's the thing about fate. Most of us, when we think about the word fate, right? These are the words that come to mind. Oh, fate is a bitch, right? Fate is something that's pre-written. It is just handed to us. It's a hand of cards we're dealt with, and then you cannot change it. You're either lucky or you're not. You're either born privileged or you're not. Life is either good for you or it's not. And it's so black and white, and most people, because of this definition of fate, they feel like no matter what I do, no matter how hard I try, no matter what, it's like I'm always losing. I'm always in this losing battle. And they feel like their hands are tied. They feel like they're the victim in life and nothing ever works out for them. And so, in this situation, when we're living a life where life is just throwing curveballs after curveballs after curveballs, and we just can never seem to catch a break, fate can feel that way. And I want to start by telling you a little bit about my story of when and how I felt that way for a very long time in my life. Because since I was really young, I've seen a lot of pain and a lot of trauma, a lot of grief from the age of 8. And then at 13, my little sister, she was 7 years old, she passed away. And I remember when she had a heart disease. And I remember when she was in the hospital, I was just sitting on the prayer mat and I was like, God, just take my life. Don't take hers. Don't take hers. Don't take hers. And then we hear the news of her death and my heart is broken. And I'm like, God, I hate this fate. And that was when my beef with life really started. It was just like every single year, some big traumatic thing would happen. And I was just like, why is life so cruel to me? Why is everything so wrong in my life? Why are the people that come in my life so mean to me? Why do I feel this way? Why do I feel like my life is worth nothing? My life means nothing. And the more I questioned, the more it just felt like I'm just fighting this losing battle. And then eventually, trauma after trauma, I was, long story short, 21. I got married and in 6 days, which is a story for another time. But I got married and after every single thing I'd been through, when I was getting married, in my head, it was literally like, well, this is gonna work because after everything, God's gonna make me win this one. That was the literal thought in my head. After every single thing, this has to be my break, right? Because that's what happens with most of us. When we've been through a substantial amount of stuff in our lives, we start to think that life owes us something, right? I felt that way. I felt that I was owed my happiness. I've been through this pain. I have paid for whatever sins that I had. And now it's time to go. Now it's time for me to get better. Now it's time for life to change the game for me. And when it didn't, I was like, no, this is not fair. Why is it that no amount of pain is enough? Why is it that I still have to keep going through stuff? And that was when I came to a point, it was 9th March 2021, and I said, God, I'm done. And I wrote a suicide note. And let me even pull it up for you guys here. So this is a part of it. It was 9th March 2021. I wrote an ending note and I said, if you're reading this, I've probably ended it all. And I was at the darkest point in my life that I had ever been in. And I saw no hope ahead. I thought, you know what? Like, it's done. Like, life's over. There's nothing gets better for me. Nothing's changing. I've just, like, what? I was created just to go through pain. Like, when do I catch my break? Like, do I just find happiness in moments? Is that what it's like? Is that what it is? Just moments of joy? And I remember I wrote this and I continued to write, and I was like, there were a couple more paragraphs, and then I'm writing this apology to my mom, and I just tears and tears under my eyes, and I couldn't go any longer, and I was like, man, like, I need to do, like, I don't know what to do. And I went in the balcony, and I knew that it wasn't my life I wanted to end, it was the pain. And so I walked out to the balcony. I looked up at the sky and I was like, God, I don't know if you're out there, but if you are, I could really use a sign right now. And I get this call from a friend of mine I hadn't spoken to in like 2 years. And long story short, that call changed my life. It saved my life. But that day I knew that I don't know what the purpose is, but I have to live to find it. And I mean, we're in 2025 now, and life is so significantly different. But the one thing I've learned along the way through divorce, through heaven, hell, and everything in between is that our fate is definitely something we choose. But it's probably not in the way that most people think for it to be. And so this series, this book is about understanding that. How do we choose our fate? And how can we make sure that we don't fall that low ever again? That we stop being so cynical about life and we can actually, because here's the good news, like, you can do something to change it. Like my life back then and my life now, they're like completely different. That girl who wrote that, I don't know her anymore. I don't know what it's like to be her. And it's not because of something I did physically, externally. It's because of everything I did internally. Because here's the thing. The world is you pushed out, period. Reality is you pushed out. And when we deeply, deeply understand this and when we let this land, trust me, it's like you get the tools to the game. It's like we've all been playing this game, but we don't know what each button does. And when you don't know, you're going to keep playing and you're going to, maybe one button is going to bring you a joy of happiness and then the other is going to like bring some shit show that you did not want to invite. And then it just came in. And so when we don't know what our buttons do, when we don't know what our controller, how it works, we feel lost and we feel like our hands are tied, right? Because here's the narrative. Life is just so unfair. Nothing ever goes my way. Why is fate so cruel? It's like the universe is out to get me. I don't have control over my life. I spend my whole life feeling that way. I don't have control over my life. I don't have control over my life. It's my parents' fault. It's this person. It's that person. I was always blaming someone or the other. And it sucks. But the thing about this narrative is that it's convenient. It's reliable. It's familiar, right? I don't have power. I am a victim. And so I'll say something like, God is punishing me. The economy is bad. It's the government's fault. It's my partner that's messed up. It's this person. It's that person. It's this, and so on. And it's like, it's never me. It's never me. It's always somebody else, right? And if it's never me, and if it's always someone else, then I will always feel like I don't have any power to change my life because I'm always looking at, there are these toxic people in my life that are the problem. My boss is controlling me. That's why I'm not happy. My parents are doing this. That's why I'm not happy. I keep getting overtime. I don't want it. I want to quit my job. I want to start my business, but it just doesn't happen. That's why I'm not happy. This. It's always never me. And sometimes, you know, understandably so, like you get triggered by those things, but it's not because they're the actual problem. The only reason those things, those people, those circumstances appear in your life is because they're resonating with something that is in your own field. And when we understand the inner workings of that, we bring our power back home. And that is what this is about, bringing our power back home, because I believe that this information, it is so valuable, it is so powerful that every single human being on this planet should have access to it, should find it easily, should be able to read it, should be able to learn it, should be able to apply it, because we came here to live a great freaking life. We came here to win. We did not come here to feel sorry for ourselves. We didn't come here to be victims, right? So the model here, transurfing, reality transurfing, fate is based on the alternatives model, okay? And they say that what you choose is always manifested, which means whatever is in your 3D right now, on an unconscious level, on an energetic level, on some freaking level, you have chosen it. And I'm not like, you might jump to say, Anna, I did not choose to feel like this. I did not choose for this person to cheat on me. I did not choose for my, mother-in-law to abuse me. I did not choose this. And yeah, it's not a conscious choice you made. But there is something in your energy field which, until you let go, it will keep lingering there and keep reflecting back that energy in your external environment. Now, let's for a moment pause that thought and let's talk about what is the alternatives space, okay? Now, the alternative space is defined as like this infinite field of information, which has information about every single thing that has ever been and ever will be. Okay. And every scenario of every event, which means like this event right now, an infinite number of different ways this could have been happening is in the alternative space. So it has all these different versions of every moment of every person's life, which means that you and I don't just have one fate. We have an infinite number of fate. But when we're sent to this world, no matter what religion you have, no matter what you believe in, the one thing that we all believe in is that we have what? Freedom of choice. Freedom of choice means what? Just the freedom to make a decision about whether to have tea or coffee? No. The freedom to choose which reality we will live from the alternative space, because all potentials exist for you. Now, here's a couple of words we're going to dive deeper into in a moment, which is sector, script, scenery, lifeline. They're all related to the alternative space, okay? Now, we'll talk about this guy named Alex. Let's talk about Alex. Okay, this is Alex. Let's say this alternative space is Alex's part in the infinite alternative space, okay? Now, sectors are kind of like different sections within the space, okay? And there's like an infinite number of sectors. So, and each sector has like a different potential. Call it a potential, okay? Each sector is a different potential, different frequency, okay? So, for example, if you're watching TV, right, there's one Animal Planet and there's one freaking ESPN. So these are, in this context, consider those two different channels as different sectors, okay? The farther away each sector is, so for example, sector 1 might be the worst timeline, sector 50 might be the best, one of the best, right? But the farther away each sector is, the greater their difference there is in their outcome, in how life unfolds for that person. Now, your lifeline is basically this. It's the life that you're currently living. Your lifeline is your lifeline, right? Each person's life, each person's path of life is their lifeline. So from birth to death, whatever path you're following, that's your lifeline. And now your lifeline can be changed, okay? You can switch your lifeline to a different sector, and when you go to a different sector, there is a different script, which is the storyline of the sector, and a different scenery, which is the physical manifestation in real life. Now, for example, Alex's lifeline is currently connected to Sector 1, which is where he's abused, where he's broke, where he's sad, where he's just so depressed. And this is Alex in the now, and this is all the life that Alex has lived. And if he continues to live this life, this is Alex's end, okay? So this entire sector has a script written for Alex. So when we say that, God's plan, or like whatever is meant to happen will happen, it means that each sector, each timeline, the fate for that is pre-written, yes, but you get to choose which fate you live. Do you understand that? It means that there's not just one fate for you. Like, life doesn't just have one thing in the cards for you. It has like an infinite potentials in the cards for you. And in those potentials, your choice is which potential you live. In that, everything's already written. You're just chilling and living it up there, okay? And so that part which is already written is the script. It's the storyline of the sector, right? And the scenery is like the physical manifestation. So each moment when you start living, what appears. When you live, what appears. When you live, what appears. And so that means that just because Alex is living this life right now does not mean that that is what God wanted for him or what he's doomed to live. It means that the moment Alex decides, he can actually change his fate by choosing a different sector, choosing a different storyline, okay? I hope you get it. And if you have questions, you can drop them in the chat, okay? So what you choose is what you get. Fate is a choice because all fates exist at the same time. Because here's the thing, right? Time doesn't exist in this alternative space or even just in the 4D as a past, present, future to be a separate thing. Like, everything happens in this one moment, the eternal now. The past, the present, the future all exist simultaneously, which is why the moment you change this, the moment you change your energy, your vibration, what you're radiating, you attach yourself to a different sector. Okay, because here's the thing. How do we choose from these infinite possibilities, right? Using our thought energy. Our thoughts are not just random words in the head. Our thoughts have real energetic power. And it is true that your thoughts can make you sick and they can also heal you. They can make you poor and they can make you abundant. They can ruin your life or make your life incredible. Because thoughts radiate energy. Now, if this is Alex and Alex is sitting there pissed off and he's like, life sucks and I hate this, 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 I hate this. What is the energy Alex is radiating? He's radiating the energy of hatred, of loathing, of how terrible everything is. Now, here's the thing. When this energy of Alex's goes to the alternative space, because here's how we create our reality, right? Through our thoughts. Now, each thought that you have has a different vibration. It has a different energetic resonance, which means it has, like a frequency that it emits, okay? So for example, if you have a remote, okay, and you press channel 87, you're radiating from your remote 87. And the TV will show you what? 87, right? So that's how our thoughts work. If your thought is at an 87, it's going to go to this alternative space where there are infinite things that could happen in your life, but it's going to go and resonate, go and match the frequency of the reality where life does suck, where everything sucks for Alex. So life will then present back to Alex more reasons to feel like life sucks, because your thought energy resonates with an equal match in the field and brings more of the same to you. The more you hate something, the more you complain about something, the more you say you don't like it, you hate this, you don't want this, people always treat me like this, the more you bitch and moan and whine about how terrible things are, well, guess what? You're just keep on creating more and more of that. People hate to accept this because they love to talk trash. They love to talk shit. They love to complain. They love to complain about how terrible everything is. And it's not just the people. That's like the whole society. That's the way that it's structured. It's a system where fear and guilt and anger are just, used to control people. Because here's the thing. I keep saying here's the thing. But here's the thing. Our freedom and our liberation and the joy and the peace that we seek is not going to be found by complaining about how bad things are. Because the more you complain, the more you create the same. If you want to have any shot at life being different for you, the first thing you got to drop is your sorry story, is your complaining story, is your story about how everything sucks. Because till the time you will keep telling the story, life will keep giving you a reason to keep fulfilling that prophecy. Our thoughts, our most predominant thoughts, are literally our prophecy. Tell me if your life right now is not a reflection of your predominant thoughts. So if you want to create lasting change in your life, and not even change, transformation, real transformation that sticks, you need a new script. You need to not just change the external, and because here's what people think they need to, here's the approach, right? Oh, I will fight against what I don't want. I will fight against this. I will fight this person, and I will fight that person, and I will file a complaint with HR, and I will do this action and that action and this. But here's the freaking cold heart, brilliant truth that you don't need to fight anything to change the external, not even yourself. You just have to accept that it exists, and you just have to choose a new script. Instead of fighting what you don't want, choose what you do want, because everybody has the right to choose. Imagine you go to a museum, okay? You go to a museum, or you go to this art gallery, for example. And at this art gallery, you look at this picture and you're like, man, I really don't freaking like this picture. And you're just staring there and you're complaining and complaining. Well, did you paint that? No. Are you the owner? No. Can you change it? No. Then I'd come to you and I'd say, why on this God's green earth do you keep looking at it? If you don't like it, stop looking at it. And you're like, but I don't like it, man. Hey, there's other pictures, other pieces of artwork that you might like, and I hold your hand and I go like, okay, well, let's go to this room, and we go to the other room, and you find a piece that you really, really like. And now you're standing in front of this piece, but then you keep looking back and you say, but I don't like that, Anna. And the more you keep complaining about that, the more power it has over you. And the less you will be able to experience the joy that this painting that you like could bring to you. Because fundamentally, reality is neutral. And until we give up our weapons, until we put down our guns, put down our knives, put down our freaking weapons, and go like, okay, you know what? I'm done fighting life. I can just choose. I have the freedom to choose. And that is the greatest superpower that you have. And so that's it for chapter 1, okay, which was called The Alternative Space. I hope you understood it. If you have any questions, drop them in the chat below. Not the chat, in the comments below. And I'll see you at chapter 2. You have some really, really, really crazy, interesting stuff coming up. But before I go, let me leave you with a little homework, okay? Let me leave you with something. I want you to look at your life, okay? And look at your thoughts, okay? And I want you to write down, what are the most predominant thoughts that I have? What are things that I don't like about my life? And how often do I think about them? How often do I feel bad about them? How often do I complain about them? Just give yourself like a little reality check, okay? I'll see you in the next video. I love you guys, and I hope you enjoyed this. Bye-bye.